what a weekend we had, and it's really, I feel like it's rare that we say this when there's no UFC card going on nowadays, but the boxing world treated us to a spectacle. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. I had a pretty good time watching this. I watched it after the fact because I was at a barbecue during it, because obviously it was during the day, our time. Battling a little bit of a stomach bug, but we're here, man. We're here. Um, for anybody who hasn't seen it, Fury won by split decision, 95-94, 96-93, and then one judge gave Ngannou 95-94. So I think that's where you have to start. This was definitely a very controversial split decision. I thought this fight was razor close, and full disclosure, I still don't necessarily have like a strong opinion either way personally, but what do you think of this? Because either way, Francis Ngannou shocked the world.
Oh yeah, dude. We definitely got treated more than what we were already getting, because on one hand it's you're taking two titans in just the combat sports world, and you're putting them in the same literally in the same ring across one another, and not only that, but just coming in, like, obviously we know Tyson Fury is the heavyweight champion of the world, and Francis Ngannou is a former heavyweight champion of the world, and you could even say, like, quote unquote, like, still a free agent, if you will. He's still yet to fight with PFL, so you've got him coming in, and all there's gonna naturally just be the doubts and the doubters, and like the people that are just like the safe pick, if you will. And
Well, I mean,
Tyson
I
Fury.
would say we were
Yeah,
among. I think everybody
definitely.
was
Yeah.
among that.
Oh yeah.
It's just you
So the
kind of have.
fact that the fact that you get as competitive as a fight as you did, and obviously the moment with the knockdown that you did, in which case you could even
That I
see
did.
that everybody.
Dude, thank you. No.
Yeah, hell, if you have the call, man, then take the credit. But if we all saw the same thing. We all saw the same thing with Tyson Fury's expression too. Like, you could see the second he got dropped, like, he was like, oh, like, hold on a second, like,
Genuine shock.
this is still that guy, no matter what, when it comes to fighting, professional fighting. So
I think he underestimated him. I mean, that's as clear as day. And I'm not saying that even if he
yeah.
didn't, that fight wouldn't have gone similarly, but it's clear that he underestimated him. And I think Tyson even said as much afterwards. He said, I mean, he's given me the hardest fight I've had in 10 years. Like, that's high praise considering some of the people that Tyson Fury has fought and probably will fight in the future. So, but this decision, I mean, do you think that it was a robbery, or do you think that it was just a close fight? I know we have this conversation every time, and it's usually with MMA. Boxing's a little different, but I don't know. I found it hard to kind of give it to either guy because, and I'll say I told you these stats before we started. So Fury outlanded Ngannou in total 71-59, and then in terms of power punches, Francis outlanded Tyson Fury 37-32, and it seemed like Fury's defense was kind of there, but his offense never really got into a real rhythm. And Ngannou looked a
Yeah.
lot more composed than I think a lot of people thought he would be, especially with that knockdown, counter left overhand, real, which I've never thought I'd see, a counter left overhand. The amount of power that he got on
Yeah.
that, like, it's amazing. It truly is amazing.
Yeah,
But
Tyson Fury was more or less just really sticking with the 1-2s, and obviously, you just mentioned the jab was really working for him, and so it was, and that's ultimately obviously what got his hand raised at the end, and I kind of figured as much that Tyson Fury wasn't going to be the one really, going straight from, because even coming in, you had people talking about it, and people being asked about, I guess, like, what Francis has to do to win, and it was pretty much just like start early and just foot on the gas pedal, because you're gonna be gassed anyways, as the fight goes on. So once again, this is the heavyweight champion of the world that you're in here with. Like, you gotta be guns blazing straight from the opening bell, and a third round knockdown like that pretty much establishes what the zone Francis Ngannou was in. It's so
I mean, do we remember like when this fight first got booked, how we were talking about like, do we even know if this is going to be a real fight? Is this going to be an exhibition? And like to think about where we are now versus where we were a few months ago. I mean, Francis Ngannou probably made the best decision of his life leaving the UFC because now he just fought Tyson Fury in his first professional boxing fight, and he arguably could have won that. And like I said, I'm kind of sitting on the fence a little bit, but either way, like just for him to come in there, show the composure that he had to drop Tyson Fury, and like I said, to outland him with the power punches. It's just you can't scoff at that performance. Even if you thought he lost, nobody thought that he was going to do that good, let alone drop him. Like it's just incredible. I mean, Ngannou now has all the options. Tyson Fury might not as much because we'll get into this real quick now. I mean, people want to see a rematch, but Tyson Fury is obviously, like you said, heavyweight champion. He has to fight Alexander Usyk, which was originally supposed to be December 23rd. Doubt that's going to be the same date now, so that fight's going to have to wait even longer because it seems like that fight has been in the making for the past like 2 years. And I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward. I think that fight has to happen. I think it's like mandatory. So Ngannou, he could go back to MMA. He could box again. Do we think it's going to be Deontay Wilder? Will he go to MMA? Could it still be Wilder? What do you think is next for Ngannou? Or what would you even like to see as well?
I mean, dude, like it's legit, kind of like it's legit looking now. Like that fight is also gonna happen. One where like I think it's probably more far fetched to say it was gonna happen in MMA, but at this point, like we just got Tyson Fury, once again the current champion of the world to get in there with Francis. Like, you know, here's another super fight for you, pretty much. And it's also, if the Fury and Wilder rematch happens as well, we obviously got it for that. We got to, we're gonna see what happens between Usyk and when that fight is even gonna happen. Obviously hopefully sooner rather than later. But dude, there's it seems like there's a lot out there now. It's just literally because of one man, pretty much.
And how about like his story? I mean, from the sand mines in Cameroon, like escapes, I think it's to France, comes to the U.S., fights in the UFC, and obviously becomes heavyweight champion after even adversity in the UFC because everybody thought he was going to beat Stipe the first time he fought him, and then he lost and seemed to shatter his confidence. Remember that Derek Lewis fight that was just a dud, and he lost that one. But after that, he was a man on a mission. He hasn't really lost a fight since, besides this one.
If he's not ranked already after this, man, like he has to be.
He might be. I mean, I know. I forget if it was Mike Tyson or Eric Nixick. It was somebody like in his corner who said that the WBC president said that he could be ranked in the top 10 because of this. Because, I mean, look what he just did. There's been plenty of contenders who fought Fury and not even come close to what Ngannou just did in his first professional boxing fight. Like I said,
dude, he's just completely rewriting like history before our eyes.
And isn't it crazy too that like this kind of started with the McGregor Mayweather thing, and before this really that was the best representation of MMA and boxing, and Francis Ngannou, he really just shot it out of the park, and even McGregor gave him the credit as well as Fury, I thought, which was nice. And I think Fury does deserve credit because he truly had everything to lose. And you could argue that besides maybe like a knockout loss or a genuine loss, this was one of the worst outcomes that you could get for him because it makes boxing kind of look bad that this MMA guy who's inexperienced just came in and beat the best heavyweight in the world. And not only that, like one of the better heavyweights of all time.
Dude, it's unreal. For Usyk as well, like this fight could have also exposed some vulnerabilities with Tyson Fury that, Usyk, obviously Francis Ngannou being in his first boxing match, you got Usyk who's now fighting, for the title and has been doing this obviously way longer than Francis Ngannou has. Like I would think he's going to capitalize on that, but
it makes me look forward to that fight even more because now it's like Tyson Fury looked vulnerable in that one. And he's looked vulnerable before, so you can't really count him out. Like, everybody thought he was done after the Wilder fight when he got dropped a couple of times, like the first one. And he's obviously shown that his, redemption qualities that he has.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely somebody who I could see rising to the occasion anyway, but it does make that fight a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah.
And like I said, this just made the combat sports world just flip on its axis, because now the PFL is even bigger, because Francis Ngannou is not a UFC fighter. He's a PFL fighter. And when people look up Francis Ngannou, and if they didn't know him before, his UFC history is going to come up, but he is a PFL fighter. So that's big for them. And especially if he fights Wilder in boxing or MMA, and it sounds like it could be MMA based on what he was saying on like the MMA Hour today about Wilder training. So who knows what the future holds, but either way, man, I'm so excited for it. We got some great fights coming up and to end 2023 in these next couple months, and we'll be here to cover it for you guys. So see y'all.
Feels just like a superstar. Doing all these drugs, I don't think I'm gonna see tomorrow. Living fast, brand new dash up in a foreign car. It's the type of shit that you be doing when you go hard.